Welcome to the new academic year 2021. I'm counting on ACM team to make this year best to one and all. We are here to support you every step of the way. I'm glad that ACM team already successfully completed their first workshop on DNS and web hosting. And it's their second hands-on workshop on Git and GitHub. I request all of you to take the full advantages of all the workshop, webinars, events organized by ACM team to help you to achieve your full potential. I encourage you all to get involved, to participate in today's workshop on GitHub, and also to take part in the array of opportunities and initiatives hosted by ACM team throughout the year. ACM is continuously working on how to help you all as you become the best version of yourself. My best wishes to Grejo and Hayden for conducting today's workshop on Git and GitHub. GitHub is a web-based platform. It simplifies the process of working with the other people and make it easy for collaboration on the projects. Once again, thank you to all the participants for joining us today. Hope it will be useful to all of you. Best of luck, entire ACM team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. I would request Grejo to start with the workshop.
Good evening all. So welcome to this workshop. So first of all, I'll make this clear that this would be an interactive workshop and it will be practical. I'll show you how everything is done and how to move forward in this. So through this workshop, when you have any doubts, don't be shy and directly ask it, because what happens is if you have some doubt, it is possible that some other person also has the same doubt. So if you ask it and get it clear, then it will also help someone else also to learn and clear their doubts. So don't hesitate to ask any question that comes around. Okay, so I'll start by sharing my screen. Okay, so first of all, you would be thinking why the workshop is named Git and GitHub both. So many people have this misunderstanding that both Git and GitHub are the same thing, but that is not true. So in this workshop, I'll clear your doubts of what is the difference between Git and GitHub, how to make a GitHub account, how to create a GitHub repository, how the Git workflow is, how to push, pull, commit changes to a GitHub repository, and other Git commands that are used commonly. And finally, I'll also show you a common tool that is used for hosting static web pages. It is called as Git Pages. It is a hosting platform provided by GitHub. So you can host your website or any website that is related to certain repository to show the information about that repo, or any other site also. If you want to host it through GitHub, it is possible. So I'll also cover that part. Okay, so starting with, what is the difference between Git and GitHub? So as I told, this both are not the same. Git and GitHub has a very big difference in such. So Git is a distributed version control system. So what is a version control system is, like for example, when you are downloading apps from Play Store for say, so you will see that different apps have different version numbers. So the first version may be 1.0 and the next update would have a version number of say 1.1 and so on. So what that does is it's version control. So why it is used is when you are working on bigger projects or when you're working on big codes, you need to have a history of all the code changes that you have done, so that if after few updates in the next update you face some error, so you should know why that error is caused. So for that you use version control. So like if you get an error in the say the 5th update, so then you can go to the version control system and check for the 4th update code and the 5th update code. So it will list you the changes that were made while you upgraded from the 4th update to the 5th update. So for say in the 5th update, you changed 100 lines compared to the 4th update. So then you only have to go through these 100 lines and find that the error is within these lines. So if the project is huge, this comes to a massive role. So when you are working in organizations, you will see that Git is used everywhere. be it any field, be it Python development, be it web development, or any project of any field, GitHub is mostly used. And GitHub is one of the most famous platforms that host Git service. So, GitHub is maintained by Microsoft, and since it is most popular and it has a very good set of features that it provides, that's why GitHub is most common platform that Git is used. And who started Git is the person who started Linux. Uh, the name of the developer of Linux is some Linus Torvalds, someone. So he was the person who invented this service of version control, and he only invented GitHub also. And later GitHub was sold to Microsoft. So what is GitHub? It is a hosting platform for software development version control using Git. And so it provides many Git functionalities along with some more options. Like I said, it provides you hosting. It gives bug tracking, task management. You can collaborate on projects. You can assign collaborators. You can have your own wikis. If you guys know what wikis are, it's like somewhat like Wikipedia, that are called wikis, that are information pages of these repositories. So, and many more things they provide on GitHub. So as I told, Git and GitHub are not same. Git is a free open source system, but GitHub is not completely free, but it is free for the use up to certain amount. So for basic users as an individual, it is free. But then there are, like, if you want a heavy use, like you are a company of your own and you have a lot of commits that are to be made, so there are some limits. So then you can go for a paid plans, and other plans are available. Okay, so as I told, GitHub is a server. It is situated in the GitHub server, and multiple people who are contributing or collaborating on a project have their individual Git local and remote copies of the Git on their individual machines. And all these individual machines collaborate to this single server, which is usually reposited at GitHub. So as I told, Git is a technique used, like it is like how you compile a code. The compiler, it is similar to that. It is a system that is used on your machine, and you use that system to access the GitHub server where your repository is located. So you must be thinking why I am using this word repository again and again. Repository means, it's very simple. It's just like a folder, a simple folder that you have on your computer. It is same like that. The folders that are on GitHub servers are called as repositories. So the folder that you work on using Git, it is called a repository, the working folder. So how it works? So as I told, there is a GitHub server that is called as remote server. So in the center of the pic, you can see remote repository. So this repository is, this is where the files are, the project files are stored on the server. Then there are local machines like the individual coders who are coding on this project. So everyone, for say if I and Hayden are collaborating on one project, so we will store our working folder, the project folder, in the GitHub repository, and we both will collaborate at our individual ends. So Hayden will be sitting at his house and coding from his laptop, while I will be sitting at my house and coding from my laptop. But also you'll have to see that the code that is being coded on my and Hayden's laptop won't be the same. He will be making some different set of changes, and I'll be making some different set of changes. So then how does the server come to know which part of the code is being edited, and how to merge that edited part into the actual server? So that is where GitHub actually works. So there are some commands that are used, as you can see in this picture: push and pull. These two words or terminologies are very important when you are working with Git. Push means very simple. You are pushing your update from your local machine to the GitHub server. While pull is you are taking the latest update from the GitHub server to your local machine. So now I and Hayden had done a quite set of changes on the server. We collaborated and we progressed a lot in our code. Okay, so now we want to introduce a third person to our team. For say Mansi is introduced to our team. So if Mansi wants the current working directory, the current set of changes that we have made up till now until today on the server, she can join into this repo. she can just pull the changes. So there are set of things that you have to do to get the code. So in short, one term you will say that you are pulling the code from the server to Mansi's local machine. So now Mansi will also have a third copy of this same project. So as I told, the copies on my local machine, on Mansi's local machine and Hayden's local machine won't be the same. But the copy that is stored on the GitHub server will remain the same for everyone. I think this is clear. Okay. So as I told, it is a big concept that you understand that Git and GitHub aren't the same. So it's a great progress. So this is a rough figure of the number of users of GitHub. So this is 40 million. So much number of users are using it. That is why GitHub is quite famous in Git surveys. Okay, so now enough of theory. Let's go to the actual practice part. We'll start by creating a GitHub account. Okay, so those who are following me in the workshop, you can also side by side do the same thing, and do let me know if I am going fast, going slow and all. I hope you guys are also following it up so that it remains a practical session.
If anyone has doubts, I can ask.
Then is there a noise in your machine?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so this is the GitHub site. It is simple, github.com. Okay, so this is the homepage of GitHub. You can see my screen, right? So now,
Yes, we can.
okay, so we'll have to give a username. So let's say we give the username as ACM Git Workshop. Okay, this is available. So for now, I'm creating a account. So I already have an account, but for showing you, I'm creating another account with the name ACM Git Workshop. Okay, I can give some email address.
So, Grejo, is it necessary that the username should always be unique?
Yes, it needs to be unique. It is same as your Instagram user ID. Two people can't have the same user. So as this GitHub is also like a social media, but for coding. Okay, so you can go to the profile of different coders. So why we told that this is useful is, one advantage of this is, if you are doing your projects and you are hosting it on GitHub, then while you apply for interviews or to any companies, they will ask if you have a GitHub account. So if you have, and if you give them the GitHub username, they can go to your GitHub repo and see your profile and see that you have quite a good experience in coding and doing projects. So you can list your projects on GitHub so that you know. So if I just go to github.com and I say I go to Hayden's account. Okay. So see, I can go to his profile. See, I can see Hayden has 43 repositories. He has worked on so many projects. So this puts an impression of you and what is your coding experience, what are the projects that you have worked earlier on to the interviewer. So that gives you a plus point, and you don't have to show your resume, because after all, the work you have done matters much more than the words that you have written in your resume. So they need to see live projects that you have worked, rather than you showing 100 certificates. If you have worked on one project which is quite good, they would prefer that. So that's how it works. So now we are
If anyone has any doubts, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, you can shoot any doubts, anything directly. Okay, so giving one simple password and I signed up. So they verify your account. So it's a verification. Unlike CAPTCHA, this is quite interesting. I don't want. Done. Join a free plan. I don't know. Okay, you can just sign up to the account and then you get an account. After you get an account, you can directly log into it. So I already have an account. I'll go to that. So this is how the GitHub homepage is. See, as I told, this looks somewhat similar to the social media page. See, Hariharan started following Hidden Cordero and so on. So this is where you can see the repositories on the left panel. So these are the repositories that I have worked or I have collaborated on and all. Okay, so to make a new repository, you can click the new green button. Okay, so this is the create new repository page. So you have to give a repository name. So you can't have two repositories with the same name. That also has to be unique. So for now, I'll say trial repo 1. Okay, so they say that trial repo 1 is available. You can put any description for the repo goes here. Repo is a short form for a repository. Okay, so now that gives you two options, either to make your repository public or private. So what is the difference between a public repo and a private repo is public repos can be accessed by anyone on the internet or anyone who has a GitHub account. So when I went to Hayden's account, so I can own the repositories that are visible here are his public repos. He may have more number of private repos in his account which are not visible to outside people. But then if multiple people wants to collaborate on a single project, you can keep it private and give editor access collaborator. You can invite collaborators to a repo that I'll show you on ahead. So that way you can use private account and add collaborators. Then only the collaborators can see this repo. So that is the difference between a public page and a private page. So I'm keeping it public for now. Also, you can initialize a README page. What is a README? Also, I'll explain. And I create the repo. Okay. So this is how a repository page looks like. So on the top, there is Girijo-Jodi, that is my username, / trial repo 1. That is the repository name. Then towards the right, you can see Unwatch, Star, and Folk. So what these are, Unwatch is like if you're watching it, then you will be notified of the updates that are done on this repo. As on my home screen, you saw that there are updates coming like Hayden did this or that. So that is because I am watching that repository. That's why I'm getting updates on that repository.
It is like the bell icon on YouTube.
Exactly. It is like a bell icon on the YouTube. So you get updates on what is going on with the repository. Then there is Star. Star is like you bookmark a page on your browser, you bookmark some pages. See, I have bookmarked these pages. So similar to that it is. So you can star someone else's repos so that it is accessible easily from your account. Okay, and then, okay, so then there is Fork. Fork, you cannot fork your own repo. That is why this is disabled. But when you open someone else's repository, it will give you an option to fork. So what is fork is, fork will create a copy of their repo in your account. By copy, I mean it will copy all the files from that repository to your account and give it a new repo name. So I'll just show you how it is. So I'll go.
1 second, Garajo. We have a question.
Yeah.
Can we upload our past projects on the repos?
Yes, you can create new repositories and upload all your existing projects there. So from your, once I'll show you the uploading part for the work also. Now this is the part. First step is to create a repo. You have to create a repo to work further. So don't worry, you can upload all the previous years, any projects, any files that you have already to this repo. It's not necessary that you always have to add new files or like you have to code after you start a repo. Okay, so how this fork works is, I go to Hayden Cordero. Okay, so here I go to one repo of his. He has this repo. So see, I have this fork option. Okay, so this is Hayden's repo, Hayden Cordero / Google Forms Spammer, and he has a Python file in it. So I fork this account repository. So forking Hayden Cordero. Google Form Spammer. See, now you must have seen this change that Grejo Joby slash Google Form Spammer came, which is forked from, see it as forked from Hayden Cordero's repo. Okay, so this is how forking works. So what this did is it created a copy of his repo in my account so that now I can do changes in my side of this account, my side, and I can update my changes to this repo and then put a new pull request to the original branch which is situated at Hayden's account. So I can suggest him changes. For say I open this file, okay, and I edit this file and I say I did some changes. For now I am adding a comment, my side of changes I did here, okay, and I give this, what is this commit, I'll explain you. So what commit is, like you are saving the changes that you have made to the repo. I'll exactly tell you the Git workflow later. So I'll just put a commit message. You need to put a message for every commit that you do. Why this message is required also I'll show you. It is keep track of all the changes that you did. So I say added comment and I commit these changes. So now my repo of this Google Form Spammer is, see, this branch is one commit ahead of Hayden Cordero master. So what they mean to say is that I have made changes which are more updated than the code that is present at Hayden's side. So that means Hayden's version of code is older than my version of code. So now I have an option to generate a pull request. As I said, this repo is not mine. I just created a copy of Hayden's repo to my account. So now if I want to push changes to Hayden's repo, I will have to ask him for a permission to allow this change to be merged to the code which is present in his account. So as I told,
Grejo,
yeah.
there's a doubt.
Huh.
Chat.
Oh, one second.
Doubt is, what's the difference between forking a repo and branching?
Okay. The difference between forking a repo and branching is that forking creates the copy of the whole repo, including the branches that are present inside it, to my account. But if you branch an account, the difference in branching is that a certain repo will have multiple branches, and in different branches, the codes and the files present will be different. Okay, so I'll show you an example of that also, but I'll just complete what this pull request means. So to merge this set of code in Hayden's account, I need to generate a pull request. A pull request is a request from my side to Hayden's repo. Okay, so see, you can see this is how changes are shown. So this negative sign means, and red line means that that line was deleted, and plus sign means that I added this new line of hashtag my side of change is this. Okay, now I can create a pull request. I say I added a comment. Also, I can leave a note for him. Hayden, I have made these changes. Please accept my pull request. And I create a pull request. Okay, so now this pull request, see, this branch has no conflicts. Only those with right access to this repo can merge the pull request. So I cannot merge this pull request because I am not a person who has the right access to this. So when it comes to a company, when multiple people are working on a single project, everyone will do their set of changes and put pull request for the repo, and the manager or the head of that project will be the person who is looking into this pull request, and he will see what set of changes that you did, and if that set of changes is correct and it doesn't have any error, all this checks the manager or the person who is authorized to do the merging part will check and then merge it to the account. So if now Hayden has to merge this pull request, he will have an option to merge. If he merges this request, then in his repo, not my forked copy, but in his repo of Hayden Cordero / Google Forms spammer, the code will be updated and the new hash, the comment which I added will be seen here only when Hayden accepts the merge request. Okay. So coming back to the doubt of what is the difference of forking and branching. So this is one I had done a Coursera course. So this is the repo for that. So in this branch, you can see there are two branches. I'll just zoom in. There is a branch master and there is a branch GitHub pages. So in the master branch, there is only these two files of readme.md and one config file. Okay, but in the GitHub pages branch, I have all the files of my course. Okay, so if I am forking this repo, for if say Hayden comes and forks my repo, I can fork my own repo. So if Hayden comes and forks this repo, he will get both these branches and he can do his changes on any of the branch he wants in this. Okay, so he can make changes to the master branch if he wants, or he can do changes to the GitHub pages branch if he wants. And the further part of putting the pull request will remain the same. He will do his part of changes. He will put a pull request for me, and I will be the person who is authorized if I want to accept the changes or not. Okay, is the doubt cleared, Mishira? Hello? Mishira, was the doubt clear?
Yeah, she said yes.
Okay. Hayden, please keep track of the chat. Huh? Since I'm sharing the screen, I can't see the chats. Okay. Okay. So coming back to our part, we had made our repo. That's where is the repo? Okay. Here is the repo. Okay. So now moving to the next part, which is you need to do the installation. So I had given everyone the steps to do the installation. I am using Ubuntu. For Windows, the installation is a bit lengthy. Actually, you have to just go with the next part. I hope everyone has done it.
The video was sent on the group.
Yeah, that is the installation part. But again, I'll show you once on Ubuntu how the installation is to be done. Okay, so it is in Ubuntu. It's very simple to install apps. It's just sudo apt-get install git. Okay, and it asks for the root password. Okay, and then I already have it installed. If not, it would have installed the git. So to check if it is installed, just use git. So you can see the git help comes up. So that means git is installed. Once you are done with the installation part in Windows also, later the other steps that is forward, like the commands are same. There's no difference in the commands from Windows or Ubuntu. Okay, so the commands are same. Instead of terminal on Windows, you will be using command prompt CMD. So you can access the CMD and then do further commands over there. Okay. After you install, you need to set your username and email address of the account that you are going to use. Okay. So for that, you have to use these two commands: git space config space -- global space user.name, and in double inverted comma you can give your username minus this. Okay, and I hit.
This is the username of your GitHub account.
Yeah, that's the username of your GitHub account. And if you hit enter, if no errors comes, then it's set. And the next would be to set the email address. So I set git config space -- global space user dot email space and the email address that you used to log in to GitHub. This is my email, and I hit enter. These two are set. Okay, this is the simple set of installation of Git done. Git is installed, not GitHub. Git is installed on your PC. Okay. So now going with what is the Git workflow? So basically in Git workflow, you first edit changes in your file. Okay, you do the changes that you want to do, then you commit that changes, and then you push that changes. So what these three discs mean and what is commit, what is push, you learn it forward. Okay. So to start with the collaboration part, first you need to create a repository on GitHub. So that part we did. So next part, what it says is to clone. Okay, so going back to the GitHub profile, so this is the repository. Okay, so this green button you can see why every button is white and only this button is green.
So
Just
can you
because,
zoom a little on that?
yeah, perfect. So now why this button is only green is because this is the most important button on this whole page. Okay, so to work on, so when you are working on the folder, when you're working on this repository, you won't every time go to github.com, you open the page and then you upload files here or you create new files here. Yes, you can upload files through here. Just you can drag and drop the files you need, give the commit message here, and then just commit the changes. That can be done, yes. But that's not the method to do it properly. So I'll show you the exact method of how to do it. So you need to click on this clone button after you create the repo. Okay. So now our repo is created, which is trial repo 1. And now go to the clone button and click on this URL that they are giving. See, it says clone with HTTPS and they give you a HTTPS link. Okay. You copy this link onto your clipboard. Okay. I copied this link and now go to your terminal. Go into the folder that you want. Okay, so I am going into my folder, say cd documents/git. I want to work in this folder. This is where I do all my Git projects. I save all my projects here. You can choose your own folder, whichever you want. Okay, once you are in the folder, you use this command. I'll just git space clone, clone, clone space. Now paste the URL that was provided by GitHub here. So the whole thing works like git, which is the keyword to call in git commands, space clone. Clone means to clone. You are making a copy of the repo. And then the URL. This URL is a global URL. You can, if your repo is public, just as you share the YouTube links to your friend, you have a YouTube video, you share the link, then they can also see if the video is public and listed. So similarly, this also works. If you share this GitHub link to anyone, any of your friends, if you want to share the piece of code with them, just share this link and they will be able to open this GitHub account.
Can you zoom the terminal a little, Grajo?
Zoom in. Yes. Now?
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so now I hit enter. So it says cloning into. So now if I go into my this folder of documents/git, I'll just go to there, documents, git. So you will see that a new folder is created with the name trial repo 1, which is exactly similar to the folder repository name. Okay. So if I go into this repo, you will see 2 files. Okay. Or you say 1 folder and a file. This folder is usually hidden. So if it is not visible to you, you have to show hidden files. On Ubuntu, it is done here. On Windows, you have to do it from folder options. You can show or hide hidden files. So only if you show the hidden files, this folder will be visible. This folder is the key folder of your whole GitHub repository on your machine. This folder keeps track of all the commits, all the changes, whatever you did to this folder. Okay. So as I told, Git and GitHub doesn't work.
Grajo, can you wait for a minute? People are installing it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anyone has any issues?
Guys, please respond. You can be interactive. You can talk it out and move it ahead. Shall I move forward? Okay. 1 second. So guys, have you done this much? Is this part clear? You cloned your repo, okay? So you get these files here. So this is the readme file and this is the .git folder. This .git folder has all the things, see branches, info, logs, objects, references. It stores all the information that is required to run Git on this machine in this folder for this repo of trial repo 1. Okay. Now, after you have done with the cloning, so as I had told in the message in WhatsApp that I use Visual Studio Code. Why use code is because it has an integrated support to do git commits and commands there. So you need not do all the commands on terminal first, but I'll teach you how to use it through commands properly because that is the actual way to do it. Later I can show you the shortcuts on how to use it easily through Git VS Code. So now since we have cloned the repo, we should go into that folder. So I cd and go into the folder trial repo 1. Okay. So here also I can list. You can see the .git folder and the readme file. Okay. So once this is ready, you can open this in your version of code editor, anything. For me, it is Visual Studio Code. And to open code on Ubuntu, you can use the shortcut of code space dot. Dot means that it will open the working directory that you are currently on your terminal in Visual Studio Code. So if I hit enter, or if you want to only open a single file, you can just mention the file name. Okay, so that's how it works. So I just put code dot space dot and hit enter. It will open Visual Studio Code for me in this folder. See, you can see trial repo 1 is open and the readme file is there in it. Okay. So now it's time to add your first file to your repo. Okay, so now I'll add a new file in this folder. Okay, and as I told, in the end I will be showing you how to host web page on GitHub. Or okay, for now we'll just make a file. I say hello.py. It's a Python file. Okay, and in this Python file I just say print hello world, the basics of whole programming. Okay, so and I just save this file. So now see, since this VS Code has integrated Git support, here on this tab you can see source control. You see the changes made, hello.py. I think it's small enough. Make it large. And see, you can see a U. U stands for untracked. Okay. You can access the same things through terminal. You can just do git space status. Okay. So if you put git space status, it shows you the status of your current repo. So it says that there are untracked files, hello.py. Okay. And so as I told, this is not live. So if I just add a file into my folder and if I save it, it doesn't come to my repo. See, my repo is still with the existing readme file. It was there from starting. Okay, so now what I need to do is to add this file to my repository. So before doing that, the first step would be I need to add my file to tracking. Okay, so for now, as you seen, it is untracked. This file is not tracked by Git. So I need to tell Git to track this file, to track changes that I am doing on this file. So I say git space add space hello.py. Okay, please follow it with me. Otherwise, if you miss something, then the flow will not be proper. You have to do it in the proper order, as you have to first add the file. You need to commit the file and then you need to push the file. Okay. So this is one method to add a certain file to tracking list. Okay, but there is one more method to add. For say if you are hiding a lot of files, say there are multiple files you need to add. If you want to add it all together, you can just say git space add space dot. Dot will add all the files which are in the folder to the repo. Okay, So this is commonly used because there won't be an overlapping. So if a file is already existing, so now if you are doing git space add, you may think that readme file will again get repeated. No, that won't happen. If the file is already existing in the tracking list, it won't be added again. So don't need to worry about that. So I now use this and I hit enter. Okay. Now if I again do git status, see, now this has changed to green. So now, see, earlier it was showing untracked files, but now it is showing changes to be committed. And it says me to unstage the file. So what this means is that now my file is in staging. So what staging is, it is a temporary, like, I'll show you on the PPT. See, what is staging? When you do git add, it goes to a staging area. So between the working tree, which is the folder on your machine, and the git repository, there is a temporary part which is called a staging area. So it is like a waiting area. Okay, so the files are waiting to be committed. It is not yet committed. Like, you don't have the track of the changes that you did. So when you, so why I say committed is because when, okay, so I'll just commit this file also. So the command to commit the file is git space commit space -m. This stands for message, commit message space. You have to put double inverted commas. Inside that you need to provide a message. So when we were doing it from the GitHub UI, we gave the message as comments added. So it is similar to that. For now, I'll say hello.py added. Okay. So what this command is, you are calling again the git keyword commit. I'm telling it to commit my changes. I am passing a message through -m and double inverted commas hello.py added. This is the message. That string can be anything. And I hit enter. So it says one file changed, one insertion. Okay. So now if I go to git status again, see, there is nothing to commit, working tree clean. So there is nothing, no changes are made after my previous commit is what they want to say. Okay, so I've made no changes after my previous commit. So if I go to another command called as git log. So what log shows me is it will show me all the commits that I have done ever in this repo. So let's go to it and see. See, I have two commits made. The first commit was the initial commit, which means the repo was created. So the author is Grijo Jogi, and I did it on 22 June at this particular time. Okay, so I did this initial commit. Then the next commit is I added hello.py added. See, you can see the commit messages. Okay, so this you show that the commit is made. Okay, now if the commit is made and the working tree is clear, let's go to the GitHub page and reload the repo. No, the file is not yet here. Why this file is not here? What do you think? We had added the file, we committed the changes, we added the file to staging, we pushed it from staging to the repo. Still I can't see it on my repo. Any clue why this happens? Guys, थोड़ा respond तो करो. सर शांत क्या बैठे सब?
Steve says that because it's not pushed yet.
Exactly. Pushing, the term I had used. We have not pushed the files yet. Okay, so now let's go back to the terminal. And now I say git space push. Okay, wait, before pushing, I'll show you another thing. So now I made this change of adding this print and there are no changes to be made. Okay, now what if I do another commit? I commit one more change. So I put another print line. I say next line. Okay, so this is another change. And if I save the file, see, it says another modified, says M. So from the terminal, it is seen like this. See, I have modified this file hello.py. Okay, so now again, if I want to make these changes to the repo, I need to again put a git commit. Again, I gave a message. I say modified hello, and I hit enter. So I got an error. It says I have not staged the changes. So as I told, if you mess with the order of commands, I had first done add, then I had done commit, then have to do push. So if I do commit before I am adding the file to staging, it won't work. So that is, it gives me an error. So first I need to do git add. Okay, now I added. Now if I commit again, okay, let's take the old commit message and I hit enter. Yes, it says modified hello, one file changed, two insertions and one deletion. So two insertions and one deletions is done in this file. Okay, now if I go to git status, the working directory is clean. Okay, so now I have made two commits and in the log I can see the commits. I added hello Python and I had modified the hello. Okay, yeah, ignore the typing. Okay, so now final part to see my changes that I made on my folder in my machine on the GitHub repo is that I have to push these changes to the repo as you had seen in this file. See, it says to go from the local machine to the remote server, you need to push. See, the word push is used here. So exactly that I am gonna use now, git push. So what this git push does is that it will update all the changes that I made to this repo on my local machine to the GitHub server. So I hit enter. So okay, when you are using it for the first time, you may be asked for the username and password. Okay, so I am giving username and it asks me password. I enter password. So it is pushing my changes. Yes, it is done. Okay. Now if I go to the repo and I refresh, yes, my hello Python file is here. Okay. So now you can see that 3 commits were made and this repo has 1 branch and 1 contributor. So if I go to this, I click on this 3 commits, I can see the full history of my branch. See, I did the initial commit. This is the same thing that we saw from the git log on the terminal, but that git log was only visible on our local machine. So if Hayden is doing some changes and he is trying git from git log from there, it won't be same output as mine. Okay, because this, as I told, the git is localized. It is local to your own machine. Okay, so until and unless you push the changes from here to GitHub repo, it won't be global. So now here it shows that, okay, Grijo Jobi has made a commit 2 minutes ago. So now if Hayden is making a commit, it will show as the commit message and Hayden Cordero committed so much minutes ago on this particular time. So now if I open one commit, someone was asking something.
तेरा कुछ सुनाई नहीं देगा रुक जा leave
Was someone asking a question?
Okay, yes, clarify. So if I open one commit, for say I open this modified hello commit. So see, these are the changes that were made. Okay, so this line was added, print hello world, and this print next line was added. See, this is the changes that are made. So this line was changed to this line. Actually, there is no much change. Actually, this shouldn't come this way. But yeah, actually it's because I entered from here and it went to the next line. So this, you can see the changes that were made in this particular commit. So if I go to the other commit, if I go to the commit of hello Python adder, so you can just see that print hello world has a green line with a plus sign. That means only that particular line was added in this commit. So as I told, when we are working on a bigger project with multiple people doing multiple changes, when the code is long, it has hundreds or thousands of lines. So in a commit change, it will only show the changes that were made. So you can track the changes. You can only search for the red and green lines in the code and see, okay, this change was made and okay, this may be the error that is possible. So that is how it helps a lot in debugging when the project is huge. Okay, so that is how, why when you push it. Okay, so only when, until you push the changes, the changes won't be reflected on the repository on GitHub. So again, going back to this. So now you see that you created a repo, you clone the repo, you added the files, you commit the files, and you push or pull the files. So pull works the exact opposite way of push. So if the repo is, I'll show you how pull works. So now I made the local changes on my folder in this folder documents git trial repo 1, and I added these 2 lines to this code of HelloPy. Now if someone else is collaborating on this project, okay, and they are making some changes, so what I can do is I can directly say, for I am the third person doing this, I go to the repo, I open this file, I edit this file, and I add 2-3 lines. I say another print, checking how pull works. Okay, and if I go to commit, I say pull check, and I commit the changes. Okay, so in the repo, you can see the 3 lines are there. In HelloPy, the new commit was done. Now pull check. But if I go to my folder, I can't see this file. Even if I refresh this file or do anything, the change won't be reflected here. Okay, so that is because if I go to git status, see, it says nothing to commit and your working tree is clean. But the repository that is located on the GitHub server is 1 commit ahead than the repo that is located on my PC. How would I know that? To do that, you have a simple thing of git checkout. Oh, no, not checkout. Yeah, so now if you want to get the changes that was done here onto your repo, you need to pull that repository. Okay, so just as we did git push, similarly there is git pull, which will fetch all the changes that are made on the repo to my local machine. So it is like I am updating my local copy of the repo, which was older, to the newer copy. So I do git pull. See what it says. Hello Python has 1 file is changed, 3 new insertions were made with 1 deletion. Now if I go to the, see this lines, these are the 3 lines that were added, 3, 4, 5. So now you can see the repo is updated. Okay, that is how it works, push and pull. Exactly as it is seen in this image. You need to push your changes to the remote server, and you need to pull the changes from the remote server. Okay, that is how, when you make sure that you are updated to the repositories that is located on the server and your local copy of that. Is it clear till here? Does anyone have any doubt? Guys, please make it interactive. Hayden, is it clear?
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah.
Rahul also said it's clear.
Okay,
Yes, it's clear.
great, great. Okay, so then now few more commands that are used are branch and checkout. As Mushir had asked what is branching. So now if I want to make a new branch for this, so this currently has only 1 branch. So now I can make another branch and say that this is a trial branch. So what this branch will do is, like, it is a different set of files for my repo on which I will do my trial. I will do my testing purposes on this. So I made a new branch. Okay, this branch is called as trial, and this says that this branch is even with the master. Okay, so what was different between forking this and branching it is, branching is for the same person. See, as I told, I can't fork my own repos. See, the forking option won't be allowed for me. So I can make different branches for me. So this is my one working branch, which is master, which I will only update when my code is perfect, when there is no errors in it and it is perfectly all right to be updated or go live on the website or whatever app platform it is hosted on. Then I will push the changes to master. until it is proper with the code. So if you want to test your code, first you do the trial, you test some features, then you commit multiple changes on that trial. So for that you make a different branch to work on. So this trial branch is there. But if I go to my code and if I change something here now, and if I commit and push the changes, it will get affected on my master branch and not on my trial branch. Why so? It is because of these two commands, get checkout. So I do get checkout. Checkout means I am checking the branch out. So this says your branch is up to date with origin master. So currently I am working on master branch. So if I want to switch from my master branch to my trial branch, I'll first pull the changes because there's a branch added. See, in the pull it said new branch trial added, which is origin trial. And now I can change from the master branch to the trial branch using this command of get checkout space the new branch name, the branch you want to switch to trial, and I hit enter. Say it says switched to new branch trial. So now if I do get checkout, it will say your branch is up to date with origin trial.
Great.
Yeah.
Shira, I have a question. Can you elaborate on what git checkout does?
Git checkout does. Okay. So what git checkout does is checkout is a command that is used when you're working with branches. Specifically, it is for branches. So what it is doing is it checks. It actually the word elaborates itself. It is like it is checking out the branch. So as you can see the result. It says your branch is up to date with origin trial. So if you make some changes to this branch, so now since I switch from my working branch of origin master to trial, now if I do any commits or any pushes, that will be made on the trial branch and not on the master branch. So then if I am multiple commits ahead, so if I do, I'll just show you practically. I am adding new lines to it. I add few comments.
We mainly use the git checkout to just switch from branches and track them.
Yeah, exactly. Two things that you use checkout is either to switch from branch to branch or to check the current branch that you are working in. So if you don't specify any branch and just put git checkout, you are checking out the existing branch you are working on. So I am say trial branch check. Okay, I save this. Okay, so as I told, I'll also show you how to commit, push, pull changes through GitHub, VS Code. So this acts as a shortcut. You can go to this git element. Here it asks for a message. I say trial branch check, and this tick button is commit. So I can click this. So we had not done the staging part. So, but if you had done the same thing through terminal, it would have shown you the error that, as you can see in Visual Code, it is directly asking me, there are no stages commit? Do you want to automatically stage all your changes and commit it directly? So this reduces the number of work that I have to do. So when you're constantly working on it, this comes handy. So you can put yes, it committed my changes. Now on the bottom left, you can see this circle and up down arrows. This says the up arrow with 1 indicates that your branch is 1 step ahead. So you need to do 1 push. The 1 indicates that you are 1 commit ahead of the original repo and you need to push the changes. So if I need to push the changes, I just have to click on this button and it will directly push the changes to the GitHub repo. And next to that, you can see we are working on the trial branch. We check out at the branch, right? So it switched from master branch to trial branch. So we can also switch it directly through this VS Code. See, it gives you options of which branch you want to switch to. Master and trial are there. So now we are on the trial branch. I did 1 commit. Now if I do git checkout, see, it shows you your branch is 1 step ahead of origin trial by 1 commit. This is why checkout is used. You will know what is the difference between your branch on the local machine and the branch which is existing at the GitHub repository. So this is why checkout is used. And as Hidden told, the another use of checkout is to switch branches. So if you mention the branch name and do checkout, it will switch from branches. Okay, is the doubt clear now? Great. Oh, so now, okay, so I'll show you how to push the changes directly through VS Code. You just have to click on this button. So it will say this action will push and pull commits to and from origin trial. And I say, okay. This did my git push command in a single click. Say it is loading, that means it is pushing. Yes, it is done. So now if I go to the repo and reload, see, trial branch check. Okay, so now what branching works? This is where branching comes into play. See, this says that this branch is one commit ahead of the master branch. Okay, so as I told, if I made any changes on this branch, it would be only to this branch. So the trial branch check commit is only applicable to this branch. So if I switch branch from trial to master, see, here the last commit was pull check. Understood the difference? That is how it works. So when you are, as I told, when this, how it works is, when you are working on a bigger project in organizations, there are multiple, you have testing versions. You test your code first before pushing it to the master branch. So master branch will usually have the final set of code. So before that, you need to do the trial changes. You need to experiment some new features or some new piece of code. You do it on a certain different branch. Or also even say if you're working, okay, let's take an example of our college projects. The extent of using GitHub on our college projects would be, okay, you have your mini project and say it is a team of 3 and all 3 people are experimenting on 3 different features on how, which one will work better on your project. So then you can make 3 different branches. So if example, if I and Hayden are working on a project, I will make a branch for myself, say Grijo, and I will make a branch for Hayden, say Hayden. And we all will have a common branch, which is the master branch. So I and Hayden will experiment our piece of code on our individual branches first. And then if it is sure that, okay, the code is ready to be published and it is properly working, there are no errors, then we will merge that code to the master branch. So for that, what you do is, see, it says trial branch has one, you can compare and pull request. Okay, so I'll click on this button. See, this, what this does is it will generate a pull request from trial branch to the master branch. So this is, as I told in the organizations, the coder will do its changes and he will generate a pull request. It is up to the manager or the person who is authorized to merge the code, who is supervising that project. He will verify this pull request and accept it. So since here I am only the person, see the commits made was this trial branch check, this we had done. So this is the commit that he is trying the pull request for. So I create a pull request. I can give any pull request name. So it can be anything. I will say merging trial to master and I create a pull request. So now see, there is, so if you go to the repo, you can see there is one pull request. Okay, I go to the pull request. See, it says merging trial to master. This is a pull request which is open. So now the manager will go to this page, open this pull request. He will check what is the changes made. He will verify it. Okay, he will do this and he will merge the pull request. Okay, this same thing. Okay, so this merge pull request, one from Grijo trial, merging to master, confirm merge. This right will only with the person who has the right access for the repository. Okay, so pull request successfully merged and closed. So now if I go to the repo, see there are no more pull requests pending. Okay, and in the master branch, you can see the trial branch check is merged. Earlier it was in pull check commit, right? So now this master branch is updated with the trial branch changes. So that's how you merge the request once the whole thing is ready. The same merging part that we did through here from pull request, seeing the UI, you can also do it through command line using git merge command. Okay, this command can also be used to merge one branch with the other branch. Okay, so then, but it is much easier to do it seeing the command user face, so that you can know what all are the changes made and everything. So usually in the companies I worked for internship and all, I saw that they prefer to use through UI, because yeah, UI shows it clearly what all is there. So you can do either of the ways, up to your choice. Okay, so that is how merging works. And similarly, so like that way you can check out, you can go to the new branch. See, this branch is old because we have not pulled the changes from this branch. So I pull the changes. Okay, push and pull commits from origin branch. Yes, it is pulling. See, it came. Okay, so now in our git log, see, so much works we did on this repo. We added the, so you can go down, there are more. So this was the initial commit, then we added the hello Python, we modified this code hello, we did in the pull check, then we did the trial branch check, then we merged a pull request one from merging trial to master. See, so this is how it works. It shows you all the history, the complete history that was done on this repo is tracked. This is why Git is used. You track all the changes. So now I'll show you in VS Code, you also have this feature to check the version control. So you can do select for compare, or you can just open timeline. See, the timeline shows all the changes that were made. So if I go to this, I can compare my code like this. You can see my screen. See, this part opened is the check difference that was made. So in this particular commit of pull check, I added these 3 lines compared to these 2 lines which existed earlier. That is how it works. You can check, see, all the changes. In the trial branch check, you added this comment. So see, you have the complete history of your code. So for say now, someone is coding on this project and they just mess up something and they put up something and they make some error in the code. They just, for now, see, instead of print, I did a typing error purposely, and I say print hello, and I saved it and I commit the change. Okay, say this is the commit made by developer. Okay, commit by developer, and I say enter, say yes, and I also push the changes. Okay, let's do it from here. So now I'll push the changes from here. Hit push. I push the changes. Okay. So I push the changes to master branch. Okay, because we were working on master. So now, so as you know, this code is wrong. Okay, so this code is wrong. So now if it was the actual project folder and it was live, and if this wrong code is done, and if someone compiles this code, we will get an error. So then what the debugger would do, he would go track the changes, just as we told. We'll go to the timeline. He will go and see what are the changes made. First, we need to refresh it, update. So he will go to the, see, you can see the timeline. This was done 1 minute ago. This was 10 minutes ago. So he will go one by one from the last commit and see what changes caused the error. So I go to this, if I open this compare, so I will see the compare and I see that, okay, these 2 lines were added and this line is wrong. So I found this error. So I can change this, only this part. I can go to hello. I can open this side by side. I go to hello and I know this line was wrong. I just change this line to print properly and I save and I again do the commit. ask me message, error corrected, and I push the changes also. It's loading. Guys, are you understanding and following with me? Is there any doubts or that something you are not understanding? If you are not understanding anything, then please do tell. I'll explain it in a different way. Okay. If I reload the page, see, I can see the commit error corrected, and if I go to this, you can see the code is perfect now. Okay. So this is how Git basic workflow works. It's very simple actually. You are done learning Git. These are only the things that are required when you are using Git at your level. Then when you go to organizations, they have a different working process. They have a different workflow of how they manage the branches and how they allow you to, how they work. So some projects you fork the repo and work. In some where you are authorized, you directly add a branch and you work on that branch. So that things depends on your team and what policy your team takes. Okay. So now moving, does anyone have any doubt about this pull requests, push commits? Guys, please respond. Otherwise, then if you don't have any doubts, I can move forward with the last part, which is Git pages. So I want to clear everything before you have moving forward.
I don't think anyone has doubts.
So shall we move forward to hosting part?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, wait, Hari has a doubt.
If I do a commit in master, can we go back to the previous commit? Okay. Hari, yes. If you do changes in a master branch also, as you saw, this current directory was master branch. See, the branch is master. Okay. So if in the master branch also you can do changes. Okay. It is, as you told them, it depends on the rights you have. Okay. Only the person who is authorized to use the master branch can use the master branch. In my case, I am the owner of the repo and I am only doing the changes, so I am allowed to do. But if you are not the owner of this repo and you are just a collaborator, it depends on your collaboration rights. So in collaborator also you have certain rights. You can be the author, you can be the editor, admin similarly. So you can put pull request for changes on the master branch. So if you find that there is an error in the code, okay, so you can do some changes on your side and then you can put a pull request for it, which the actual person who has the editor access will solve it and merge the pull request after seeing your change. Did you get it? Great. So then, okay. So
Ajok, can you go to the pull request page of your?
Yeah. Okay. So hidden data pull request. See, he's pulling it to my master branch directly. Okay. So see, he created a README file. Okay. See, he changed the README file to heading hidden here. So I can review these changes. I can approve this change. See, I have options to review these changes. Okay. Or I can go to the pull request. And if, okay, so I say that this change is accepted, I accept this change, then I will have the access to merge the pull request. If in hidden, he can't access this part. So as you can see, he has forked my repo. Am I correct, Hayden?
Yes.
You forked my repo. So see, that is why it is named as Hayden Cordero trial repo 1, which is exactly similar to my repo name. So when you are forking, see, I can go to his repo. It is forked from my repo of trial repo 1. Okay. So now he added this request. If I merge this request, I say confirm merge. I merge this request. Now if I go to my repo, see, Hayden added this readme file of hidden readme MD. This is the change Hayden did. Okay. And please don't name your readme file like this. It should be of the name capital readme.md. You can't change the name of that file because GitHub won't recognize this file as a readme file. Okay. And okay, so I had also told you I will tell you how to edit readme files. Readme files are edited. You can either edit it from here using this, okay, or you can edit it in your editor here. So okay, so I will show you directly through here. So readme file is a .md file. You may not have seen .md files earlier. So this has a syntax. It is not a normal text file. It is not normal text file. If you have done web development, you may have come across the terms of headings as h1, h2, h3, h4, h5. Similarly, for headings, readme has this of hashtag, then double hashtag. Okay, this works like h2. Then triple hashtag, this works like h3. The more the number of hashtags, the more the number of the subheading it is. Then the normal paragraphs can be written directly like this. Similarly, there are much more. You can embed images to it. You can embed links. You can embed a piece of codes.
Next line is BR.
Huh?
Next line tag is BR.
BR, yeah. That is also similar to this. You can use BR tag to go to next line. Similarly, so I'll just show you how this headings work. You can give commit changes as update readme. I commit the changes. See how it works. This is single hash. This is double hash, triple hash, 4 hash. So see the order, it becomes smaller, 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 and the paragraph comes directly. Okay, this is how the readme works. You can learn of this more. And also what MD stands for is markup definition. Okay, so it is a markup language similar to HTML. So it works like that. Okay, so that is readme. And in readme, you put all the information about your repository. So I'll show you one good readme file. Okay, this is one project I had done. See the readme file of this. It has a heading. It has a paragraph. It has an image embedded. See, it has a code. This is embedding a code. You can embed a link. See, and these are else paragraphs. So now I'll show you how the actual code of this readme is. See, to embed image hashtag, exclamation mark, bracket image 1, and the link for the image where this image is located. This image has to be either located on a global server or in your GitHub repo. Okay. Also, to show code, you need to add this inverted apostrophe, which is below your exit button, escape button, and you can use break to go to next line. Also, see, this is also a URL. You show the URL and you connect it to the reference where it should be linked to. So this is how a readme file is written. Okay, so you can learn more from Google. You can see the syntaxes. Just Google for your syntax of readme. You can see that, and then you can make readmes like this. Okay. So going back to our repo. Okay, yeah. So now this is the basic of how to use GitHub. And okay, I'll just go to the settings also. In settings, you can rename your repo, can enable features.
One thing to note is that once you name a repo, that name you cannot make one more project with the same name on your account.
Yeah, your account's repo should be unique. So if I already have a COVID tracker 19, I can't use that name. It will say already taken. See, this manage access is where you add collaborators. You can invite a collaborator. So I can invite a collaborator with, then you have to pass the name. So I say Hayden Cordero. See, I add. So now Hayden will have a request pending invite. That means I have sent my request. So if Hayden accepts my request, he is a collaborator for my repo. So he will also have access to this repo. For now, the repo is public repo. I can change this public to private. So it is down here, change visibility. if I make this private, only my collaborators and myself can view this repo. No one with, as I so told you earlier, you can just share the link of the repo and anyone can access it. If it is private, no one can access it unless you have rights to the repo. Okay. So if I want to make it private, I can make it private. For now, I'm not making it. So if the repos are private, say if you go to my account, repositories, see these repos are public repos. Okay. But actually there are more repos on my line. See this lock button. See this golden lock on the left panel. See this repo is private. I can see this because I and Hidden are collaborating on this project. That's why. Similarly, this is locked. This is locked. So these locked repos only I can see. So as I told, if the repo is private, only the person and the collaborator can see it. And if it is public, anybody can access it.
Okay. Rejo, I send you an invite. You can just show them how to.
Oh, okay.
Bell icon.
See, the bell icon shows notifications. So I have an invitation for Hidden Codero/OS. Okay, I can go to this. See, he's inviting me to collaborate. So I can accept this invitation. The Hidden, is this a private repo or a public repo?
It's public. I'll make it private. 1 second.
Make it private. Let's wait for him to make it private.
It's private.
See now I can't see OS repository. Okay, but if I accept this invitation, I can have access to this repo.
And see, it says private on top.
See, this is a private repo. And now only the collaborators, see the contributors are there. Only we can see the repo. Okay. So no one else can see it. That's how it works. So that is why when I searched for it here, it wasn't visible because it is not a public repo and it's a private repo. Okay. That is how it works. And now this repo will be accessible from my homepage. Here I will be able to have OS. See, Hidden Codero OS, I can access this. It is because he shared his repo rights with me. Okay. This is how a public and private thing works and how collaboration works. Now the final part of this, I'll go through it quickly. Final part is the GitHub Pages. So GitHub Pages is a free platform that is provided by GitHub to host static web pages. So their main intention was to allow the users to make pages for their repos. Okay, so in repositories you generally put projects, right? So for that project, some web page can be made to access that project. So they have all these things that they give. Okay, so there are two options to host a page. Either you can host it directly with your username, that it will be global. It will be a global thing, like it won't be specific to certain repo, but for all repo. But if you want to make it for certain repo, for say only for the trial repo one, I want to host a web page, I can go to settings. Okay, I will go down. There is an option for GitHub Pages. Okay, here they are asking me what is the source. In source, you have to select which branch you have to use. So I am using the master branch to host the website. Can you choose any branch? Okay. Now if you go down again, see it gives me a URL. This is the URL which your website is hosted at. So when you are usually doing free hosting services, you don't get a HTTPS server. This is a GitHub server. It is quite fast also. So I found this as an advantage to work on. So for now, since And if you know about hosting, if you were present on the domain domain workshop, or if you have already made web pages, you would know that the home page of any server web page should be index.html. So, and GitHub, if it was some other hosting, this page wouldn't have come up, and it would be a blank page, and it would say that no index found. But in GitHub, it is set to find the README file if you don't see the index.html file. So now if I want to host my web page here, I'll update my repo, okay, in the master branch. Now I will add index.html file. Okay, now I will add my web page. This is trial home. Okay, I save it and I just give one heading tag, home page. Okay, and I save it. Now I commit the changes. Index page added. Okay, I have not added. Git add. Git commit. And now git push. As I told, this needs to be of this order itself. Add, commit, push. Okay. So now I pushed. So if I go to my repository, see the index.html is here. And if I reload, sometimes it takes some time. It is due to cache. If you clear the cache, in some time it will show you the index page. Had come. I like him. We'll save and update.
Trial repo.
Huh? Why is this page coming up?
Index.html is in trial repo.
नहीं ना मास्टर ब्रांच पे If I go to index.html, it is coming. Okay, I'll just have to relaunch this. So it's better to always put the GitHub index.html file earlier and then link it to the Git pages. If you do that way, it comes directly. It will take some time to reflect the changes. This happens. Sometimes you have to just wait for a few time because it takes some time to load it. README is getting linked. Hayden, any idea why this is happening now?
I think the cache has stayed, Grajo. Do one thing, just make a temporary new repo and upload the HTML.
Yeah, the cache stayed.
Yeah, see.
See, now it is proper. Okay, so it's better to make the index file first. And
if it doesn't have work, you just keep on refreshing the page and wait.
Yeah, just clear the cache. You can use Control F5 to clear the cache and reload your page. Okay, so this works. So as you can see, the home page is here. So now you can build a whole website. So I'll show you another copy. I have another folder, Git trial 1. So this is the files for a whole website. So if I, as you guys asked me, if you can upload the files of projects that you have already created. So now that is the part. So this is a project which is already built. It is different from the folder also. See, our folder is here, Git trial repo 1. Okay, it's here. So if I want to upload files which are not, which were made earlier and we didn't add it after the GitHub repo was made. So you just, I will delete these 2 files. Indents file also I'm deleting. Okay. So this is now a new repo. It only has 2 files, which is the file as it was made fresh. Okay, when the Git repo was made, it was like this. Now if I go to, I take the files from here. I copy this files, okay? And I copy it and I paste it to our repo folder, which we cloned. Just assume that this repo was cloned, fresh, new now. Paste it, the files into that repo. Okay, it says to replace the readme file. Accept that also. Don't mess with the .git folder, okay? Never mess with that folder. You can do anything with the other files. Okay, I uploaded new files. Now I'll have to push the changes. Okay, so I'll have to add all the files. I say git add. Now if I say git status, see, these many files were added new to this folder, and see, you can see deleted. I deleted hidden readme md. I deleted hello.py. Also, you will see I modified the index.html because it was replaced with a new file. Okay, and now if I commit the changes and I say new website, okay, and I hit enter, so many files were added. 108 files were made. 34,277 insertions, lines were edited. Now I push all these changes. I give my username. I give the password. There is a method to save this password globally. Okay, and it is pushing. Then if I go to my website, I reload it. I first reload my repo and see all these files are new now. If I reload this,
It will take time.
Just wait for a minute. It depends on the server speed, GitHub, how fast it affects the changes. So you can go to save. It's still at that.
Give it some time.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, 8K. So this time it takes. So this, it's a sample website I downloaded yesterday from net. See, you can host a full-fledged website. It has everything: animations, JavaScript, Bootstrap, anything, all the things.
And you can share this link with anyone, and they can.
Yeah. So if you want to share, you don't have your own domain, you just host it on GitHub. You take this link, share it with anyone, and anybody can access it from anywhere. Okay. This is how Git pages works. It's very simple to host things here. It's very simple hosting method. Okay.
Just don't forget index.html.
Yeah, index.html is main. The file homepage has to be named index.html. If you have multiple pages, you can add multiple pages also, but the home page should be index.html. You can link other web pages to this. That is okay. But the server, it fetches for index.html page at first. So that has to be there. So, and with this, so this is how you host a free web page on a repo, and it is a trustable hosting. It is well secured on GitHub server, fast enough. So thank you. We are done with the workshop. So you guys have any questions?
Question from Mushira.
Huh.
Which is better, GitHub hosting or WordPress?
Mushira, as I told, this is just a easy way to do it. So when you are new to hosting, and you don't have a proper hosting method, or you don't have proper servers port, or you don't have a domain, you can use this. But one thing is that GitHub, so it will not support dynamic hosting. Like the main thing that is required to do a WordPress hosting is the whole WordPress is hosted on a MySQL database. You can't have databases stored on GitHub hosting, because this is not a hosting platform. It is just they provide hosting for static web pages. So you can't have a MySQL database, or you can't have servers which stores your Firebase data or anything like that. So you can't for sure host WordPress on GitHub. So, but then this is for static web pages that you code directly, like direct web pages. You can use it. And if you compare GitHub hosting with WordPress hosting, obviously WordPress hosting is much ahead than GitHub, as it, because WordPress has its own set of features and tools, plugins, templates, all those things. So you can't have that WordPress admin page loaded on GitHub. And this is just a small platform to host single page or small web pages with multiple pages. Okay, is that clear, or you have doubt more?
She said she understood.
So are there any
Others?
other questions?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking if there are questions. No, not from you, Mushira, from anyone.
Yeah, anyone else? Guys, make it interactive. I had told in starting itself, we could discuss things, then it will help others also.
Like now this index.html, I literally spent 2 days on that, and then
Yeah.
graduate told me that.
Yeah, Hayden does these mistakes. He's like, my web page is not loading.
So I guess we don't have any questions. So, there are always some essential things we always end up procrastinating. So, it may be as simple as making a LinkedIn profile, or like starting to use Git and GitHub. So I'm sure that all our participants will start using Git and GitHub from today itself. So thank you so much, Grejo, for this informative session and live demonstration.
Thank you.
I would also like to thank Sana ma'am for her constant support, and without whom none of these events would be possible. Thank you to all the ACM members who have been constantly working for these workshops since many weeks. And lastly, thank you to all the participants who spent their valuable time on this workshop. Without you all, these workshops are nothing. So before signing off, I would like to request all the participants to fill the feedback forms. The forms will be sent on the group. So thank you so much everyone for joining. Signing off.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining and bearing with my teachings. If I have made any mistakes, please do let us know in the feedback forms. And do come for our future workshops also. And if you have any doubt, you can contact us, me, Hayden, anyone you can contact, and we will solve your doubts also.
Thank you everyone.